shit. I just put out a video saying this wasn't going to happen, and what do you know? The ACC and ESPN announced a long-term renewed commitment. The ACC and ESPN has picked up the option, and that is going to be good through 2036. But we do have some news about what this deal entails, so let's get with it. So I got some information on this topic. It's from Athlon Sports, whoever the hell that is online. Anyway, they seem to have a little bit more details, maybe. I don't know. Apparently they have some sources. I don't know. Maybe they ripped off somebody else. I don't know. So what Athlon is reporting is that the ACC is going to try to take a little bit more advantage of their Notre Dame contact there, being a partial member, playing 5 games with the ACC. So they're going to have more your Clemson versus Notre Dame, Florida State versus Notre Dame kind of stuff, and kind of guarantee it every year. Now, if they're guaranteeing it every year, what I'm assuming is ESPN kicked in a few more bucks for that, just to make sure that they have a little more premium matchups, I guess you can say, or as many as you can have in the ACC. Now, part of that money and other media rights money, it's going to be funneled, I guess you can say, into a fund, and they're calling it a brand fund. So anybody, not just anybody, but Florida State, Clemson, Miami, more than likely UNC, but anybody with a bigger brand is going to have access to those funds. That way they can try to satisfy Florida State and Clemson and try to keep Miami and UNC at least relatively happy. Now, keep in mind, this is just planned things, right? A new distribution model, which has to be voted by everybody in the ACC. I'm not sure how many members it takes to knock that down. Not exactly sure about that. But nothing is done yet. You know, the extension is there, but can they keep Florida State and Clemson happy? And keep in mind, Florida State has already told them, as far as a settlement goes, as far as them alleviating their lawsuits and all that, one thing that is non-negotiable for Florida State and Clemson is they want a lowered buyout. All right, they want their buyout cut significantly in 2031. That way, when the Big Ten and right around the time the SEC comes up, they can buy their way out on a reduced rate and get out. So they're willing to stay till 2031 as long as the money's right. Quite a bit different than I thought things were going to go. But then again, there's still questions, though. That's the best case scenario for the ACC, to basically kick the can down the road till 2031 and allow Florida State and Clemson to buy their way out on a reduced rate. That's the only way that they're going to agree to jack shit. Okay, let's keep that in mind. So, ACC fans, this is a win for you guys a little bit. This will keep your conference together a little bit longer. It appears so. It appears so. But none of that has been settled. Like I said, there's been no settlement. There's been no votes on a new distribution model for the ACC. So they have to get enough votes, and I'm not sure how many that is. Does it take 10, 12, 14? I don't know. However many it takes, that's who they got to have. Now, I understand you're trying to take care of Florida State, Clemson, UNC, and Miami, but what about Louisville? You know, I guess you could make the case that, their money won't really decrease. Well, someone's money has to go down in order to... Florida State and Clemson are behind the 8 ball. They're behind the payouts for the SEC and the Big Ten by about roughly $50 million. $50 million. And they don't like that much. I guarantee you Miami's not thrilled about it either. UNC thinks they should get more, and they desperately want to get more. They want to invest more. According to Chancellor Lee Roberts, they want more money for football. Is there an additional, at least get you closer, $35 million per team, each one of those teams? I don't know how much money there is to satisfy Florida State and Clemson and Miami and UNC. See what I'm getting at? How much more money is there? And are those teams at the bottom, are they willing to take a big pay cut or a decently sized pay cut? Because it may very well come to that. How much more money, if any, has ESPN kicked into this thing? Like I said, if any. Which sounds a little weird, but maybe they would pay a little extra for some premium matchups. Notre Dame and Clemson every year. Notre Dame and Florida State every year. Notre Dame and Miami every year. And Notre Dame has said that they would be willing to work with the ACC and provide those matchups. So, no argument there. But then again, like I said, there's a lot of mouths to feed in the ACC. How does Virginia and Virginia Tech feel about those particular schools making quite a bit more money than they do? NC State, are they going to be cool with UNC now being on a higher pay rate than them? And they got some sway with the Board of Governors there in North Carolina, so is there any headache there? So a lot of things are undecided. Theoretically, can the ACC reach a settlement, most importantly with Florida State and Clemson? Can they keep them there till 2036? I don't think they will. I think, as I said, it seems like Florida State and Clemson, they want a hard out by 2031. And if you can get them more money, cool. But then again, like I said, the dominoes start falling. So what teams are good with just making whatever money, making less, significantly less money than Florida State and Clemson, significantly less money than Miami and UNC? Who's going to be really cool with that? Like I said, is Virginia Tech, and Louisville and Pitt, are they all on board with that? Is Georgia Tech on board with that? That's yet to be seen. If I'm those schools, I don't know if I'm really down with the unequal revenue sharing. That just seems like some dog shit to me. And I know the Big 12 have went far and above saying that nobody in this conference is going to make more than anybody else. As far as media rights money that is supposed to be distributed equally, will be distributed equally in the Big 12. The ACC, that's about to not be the case. At least that's what they're pushing for, because they got to get Florida State and Clemson paid more money, right? And look, those lawsuits, Florida State and Clemson, those lawsuits, that's going to be years. That'll take years to rectify through the courts. And in the meantime, you have a very influential school like UNC, and possibly, a little lower level, but Syracuse and some other schools are really pushing hard for private equity. Can't do private equity when there's lawsuits. No one's going to invest in this thing when there's lawsuits like that. And one has to ask, what does this do for any kind of merger talk? I've kind of been all over that myself. And apparently I'm wrong about the ESPN picking up the extension. But am I wrong on that? I'm not sold that I'm wrong on that. I know private equity has, they have it out for a Super League. And if you combine the ACC with the Big 12, well, that's a damn Super League, is it not? That's 32 teams if you include UConn and minus Florida State and Clemson. So, is something like that still on the table? I'm going to leave it on the table until it gets taken off the table. Until there's no doubt that kind of stuff can't happen. But right now, I have to say that, I got to eat some crow on that crap. But there's still not a big win in it yet for the ACC. We'll have to see. Can they get enough members of that conference to agree on unequal revenue sharing? That's a kind of a political hurdle a big one. That's about money. And you're talking about where the House case is coming up. You're about to have to start paying these players. There's going to have to be revenue sharing, $20 million per school. So there's some schools in the ACC, you're telling them, well, you're just not going to be able to compete with those on top. That's what you're telling them. And how desperate are they that they're going to say, well, I guess we get to say we're an ACC member and really can't compete. We can't, it's hard enough to compete now with Florida State and Clemson, but now we really can't compete with them. We can't compete with Miami. And now you're going to put UNC on a loftier perch, at least football wise. And everybody else can just go suck eggs, I guess. I don't know. To me, unequal revenue sharing is dubious. If that's what you're doing, your conference is going to die. That's just kicking the can down the damn road. There's no way that's sustainable long term to have teams at the top making all the damn money and an unequal revenue split. I would love to be a fly on the wall when these people come together to make a vote and to hear some of these folks, at the quote unquote bottom of the conference or the middle of the conference and hear what they got. I want to hear what, the president and AD and chancellors of Pitt, Virginia Tech, NC State, Louisville. I want to know what they have to say about it. And hopefully that information will come out pretty soon. Hopefully they'll make it public. They'll say hell no or have their concerns or whatever. Hopefully somebody puts something out there. Some source leaks some crap or something. That's what I'm waiting for. I want to know what these other schools who are not Florida State or not Clemson, not UNC, and not Miami. I want to know what they think of this. That they're not going to get that extra brand fund money. That's what I want to know. But for now, small win for the ACC, but we'll see if they can make it work. Can they get unequal revenue sharing to pass? And if it does pass, the ramifications, especially when you have those top two teams, they're going to negotiate so they can get out of there in 2031 anyway. Can kicked down the road. Great. We'll see how far down the road that can ends up. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.